Okay, now to the developing situation in Alice Springs, the town that is in the middle of a crime wave, which has seen a spike in vandalism, assaults and break-ins. The Prime Minister belatedly made an emergency visit yesterday, but has that actually achieved anything? Well, let's hear from our reporter who's on the ground in Alice Springs, Northern Australia correspondent Matt Cunningham. Matt, thanks again for your time. Alcohol restrictions have been put in place. What have been the response or the reaction there from the locals and those who are causing the problems in the first place?
Look, a lot of people are saying that what was announced yesterday, Corey, isn't going to be enough to address the problems here in Alice Springs. They acknowledge alcohol is one issue, a serious issue that's being dealt with by this town at the moment, but they're also concerned about issues with juvenile crime, young people on the street late at night, and questioning what exactly the Northern Territory government and the federal government plans to do to address that issue. Now, a lot of the politicians are saying, well, the two issues are linked, and there's probably a case that they are in many ways, but I think people here want to see more done to ensure that those kids who are on the streets late at night are safe and that they're not getting into trouble. It was interesting, I was just up in town half an hour ago, Corey, at Coles and Liquorland, right in the middle of Alice Springs. You know that these alcohol restrictions have come in today that mean that there's no alcohol, takeaway alcohol sales on Monday and Tuesday, and on every other day of the week the sales are limited to between 3 p.m. And 7 p.m. Hopefully we've got these pictures here I can show you that at 3 p.m. today, or just before, there was quite a big lineup outside the Liquorland in Alice Springs, and police were walking through checking people's ID, just trying to keep an eye on the situation. And then just as I was there filming that, there was actually something of a car chase that came through the car park in the car park of the Coles shopping complex there in Alice Springs. There was a blue Commodore that came through. There was a police car that was following it with its lights and sirens on through that car park. It turned around. I think the police saw that I was filming. A short time later they stopped. The car kept going, and then there were quite a number of police cars that seemed to be driving around the streets in the nearby vicinity looking for this particular vehicle. So I'm not exactly sure what the situation was there, but certainly an indication that there's not particularly going to be a huge slowdown to the crime issues that we're seeing here in Alice Springs. It certainly has been a pretty dramatic few days, and if you talk to locals here, it's been 2 or 3 years where they've really seen an escalation in these issues that we've now seen the Prime Minister come here to address.
Yeah, Matt, that footage, we did get to see it, and it's testament to your work on the ground. You're always in the right spot at the right time because you're a local and you're connected. Now, the PM's visit was very swift.
Yeah,
Do you actually think it's helped the problem, or is it just put it...
hear the question at the moment, but I think there's something that really needs to be addressed here as well, and that's the discussion there's been around the alcohol restrictions in town camps and some of the smaller Indigenous communities after the end of the Stronger Futures, of course better known as the intervention or the extension of that intervention legislation. We heard the Prime Minister today. He was interviewed by Andrew Clennell here on Sky News, and I think by this time next week we're going to see almost a full circle, a total backflip on the decision that was made to allow alcohol back into those town camps and those smaller communities. You heard him say to Andrew Clennell today that decision was under review, that they're going to consider making it an opt-out rather than an opt-in. That means that the communities would have to put forward a special case if they wanted alcohol to come in. That's not what was done. Basically, the tap was turned straight back on, and a lot of people said, well, they should have had to make the case as to why alcohol should come into those communities in the first place. So I think that's one to watch, really going to see whether there is a change of heart there, and I expect that that's going to be the case, that they will reverse that decision.
All right, Matt Cunningham, we're going to have to leave it there. We've got a few technical difficulties, but fantastic reporting right on the spot again.